Before we get started with today's video, I have an announcement to make. After years of telling other people's stories, I finally released one of my own. My novel Eternal Reign is available now in both ebook and paperback format for those of you who are like me and prefer to collect physical media. You can grab a copy right now on Amazon through the link in the description of this video. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. While hanging out in Razat Han, the Warrior of Light gets a message from Varshan. The students of Baldesion are looking for you, and they want you to come to Sharlayan as soon as you can, so you head off. Kral and G'raha are waiting for you, but they weren't the ones who wanted to talk to you. It was actually Erenville, who seems to have made it back from his trip a lot sooner than he was supposed to, and he's brought someone who wanted to meet with you. The Gleaner's trip had been to Tural, more commonly known as the New World, and the person he brought back is a very energetic friend from his homeland, Wuk-Lamat, who just so happens to be two things that aren't all that common to see in Sharlayan. She's the heir to the throne of Taligulal, the capital of the New World, and she's a female Hrothgar, something that definitely should have gotten a bigger response from the Warrior of Light and her friends. Wuk-Lamat doesn't waste any time getting to the point of her wanting to meet with you. The rite of succession is about to be held in Tural. It's a big contest to determine which of the heirs to the throne will be the next ruler. And since she's heard of how great of a warrior you were from Erenville, she wants you to come to her home and participate as one of her champions. Not gonna lie, having a god slayer competing with normal people in anything seems unfair, but with the New World being a place that very little is known about, the Warrior of Light could finally run across something that she can't beat. So the idea is definitely intriguing, but there are a lot more questions that need to be answered before you run off to the other side of the world. And lucky for you, G'raha and Kral have quite a few of them to ask, since the Warrior of Light is still kinda mute. From what G'raha knows of the New World, the Mamuz-Ja are the ones in charge, so the fact that a Hrothgar is claiming to be the heir to the throne isn't matching up with what he knows. He's not wrong, a Mamuz-Ja does rule, but Tural is way more diverse than people think. The current king is a two-headed Mamuz-Ja who also happens to be Wuk-Lamat's dad. She's obviously adopted, but that doesn't remove her claim to the throne. She doesn't know much about your people either, so she's not offended by the questions. She does think that since you're an adventurer, you'll really enjoy the competition since it supposedly involves the legendary City of Gold, and an equally rare monster. Erenville doesn't even believe that the Golden City exists, but Wuk-Lamat thinks that's funny coming from him since he spent a lot of time looking for the place. All of this talk of the New World and Golden Cities is extremely interesting to Kral, since it was mentioned in the letter that she found for her grandfather, which means she probably doesn't need all that much convincing to want to take the trip. But Wuk-Lamat thinks it'll be a good idea for you all to get to know each other better before you make your decision, and the best way to do that is to go on a hunt together. The contest for the throne will involve fighting, so she wants to see what you can do and get the opportunity to show off her own skills a bit. It's not a bad idea, and as luck would have it, there was a petition from the researchers on the Isle of Ham. The vast amounts of ether that the place lets off makes the creatures there extremely strong, something you know of from experience, and they've been stirred up by some new beast. The researchers want someone a bit tougher than they are and probably more expendable to come over and deal with the thing. It's a perfect opportunity to fight with your new, overly excited friend. Kral sends you all on ahead while she runs off to get prepared, so the Warrior of Light, G'raha, Erenville, and Wuk-Lamat hop on a boat and ride over to the Isle. The creatures are just as strong and violent as they were the last time you were there, and Wuk-Lamat is impressed by both how well you fight as well as how famous you really are. She had never seen a place like the Isle of Ham, and she's surprised that her brother, who had studied at the Studium without letting anyone know that he was from Tural, hadn't told her about the place. Granted, not many people are allowed on the Isle anyway, so that makes sense. The only people who likely knew that her brother was from the New World were a part of the Forum, and they have no problem keeping secrets. Plus he was a cat boy, so it wouldn't be hard for him to blend in. There are obvious signs around the island that there's some type of very large predator around, and it doesn't take long to track down what you all think it is, until the real monster shows up and snatches the thing that you thought was the dangerous creature. The thing looks like Toucan Sam if one of the ingredients in Fruit Loops was HGH, which means fighting it will probably be fun. The fact that it also repeats things that you say makes it a lot less so, but after filling it with arrows and magic, you put the giant talking bird down. While she talks a big game, the fact that her hand is shaking after the fight shows that Wuk-Lamat isn't nearly as experienced at combat as she claims. The bird is also not as dead as it should be. In the most obvious sign that they were waiting to give Kral the chance to make an entrance, the Warrior of Light and G'raha, two of the most powerful non-dragons on the planet, watched the thing get back up behind a potential leader of a nation without warning her that she was about to get eaten. Also, Kral can show up and finish the thing off with her new magic. After she couldn't join you all in Ultima Thule because of her lack of combat skills, she started training so she could be useful in battle, and she decided to train in the art of the Archon realm. Pictomancy. She's basically Sai from Naruto, which means she's going to do some very weird and very interesting stuff in Dawntrail. She's extremely focused on making the trip because of the letter that she got from her grandfather. A letter that seems to have been sent by Wooklamot's dad himself. The future Tiger Queen recognizes her father's signature, but she's pretty sure he didn't actually write the letter since it's written in Eorzean, while the people of Tural have their own language. But the letter does confirm the fact that the City of Gold really exists, and Kral's grandfather really was doing something in the New World. That makes her all the more eager to chat with Wooklamot about her homeland. The woman doesn't mind as long as you all get to eat the giant bird that you killed. You take it to the last stand where they turn it into a very nice meal that you all eat while you get the rest of the details on the situation in the New World. For the longest time, Tural was a place where a lot of different races lived, but they were anything but friendly. It wasn't until 80 years ago when the Dawn Servant unified all of the warring people and started the nation. Things have been peaceful since then, but Wooklamot's dad is getting old and he's ready to pass on the throne to someone worthy. There are 4 people fighting for the spot, but Wooklamot thinks one of them is too ambitious to be allowed to rule. The people of Tural heard about the fall of the Garlean Empire, and while most of the people were happy that the potential threat was gone, one man thinks the fall of the Garleans left an opening for him to lead his army on a mission to conquer the world. He dragged the nation back into war after everything her dad did to end it. She won't let that happen, and she needs you to help make sure that it doesn't. Since the leader of the New World has to deal with a lot of different races of people, getting outsiders to help is a part of the process to prove you're worthy to lead. Now that you know what she wants, Wooklamot heads off to the Baldesion Annex to wait for you to make your decision. While you and G'raha are discussing the potential trip to the New World, the twins overhear you, so you let them know what you're working on. The whole thing intrigues them, and once they realize that there's no limit to how many people that Wooklamot can bring, they head off to discuss whether or not they're going to tag along with you. G'raha is sure there's more to the story, but the only way you'll find out what it is by taking a trip to the other side of the world, something everyone knew you would do the minute you got asked. So you head off to tell Wooklamot your answer, never noticing that Thancred had been listening to everything you and G'raha talked about. When you let the future Tiger Queen know your answer, the twins show up to say that they're coming too, because of course they are. Erenville told Wooklamot about them too. Granted, he told her about them turning into frogs and following him around, which is not a story that Alizé wanted to revisit. While Kral was excited to go at first, she's having second thoughts since she has so much work to do if she's going to get the students of Baldesion back on their feet. But since he's a good friend, G'raha decides to tell her he'll stay behind and man the fort while Kral goes on her trip, something she's very grateful for. With everything decided, you all get ready to set sail for the New World. But you're not the only ones going. Estinian has decided to explore a new place, and he's chosen to head to Tural completely unaware of the fact that you're going there. And Thancred and Urianger are going too, because someone sent them an invitation. Meaning we're about to have a very interesting and unique situation pop up in Dawntrail. We're going to have 3 groups of scions working against each other in a contest to determine who's going to rule the New World. This concludes the story of Endwalker. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, comment, share it, and subscribe. Donate to the channel if you can, and I'll see you all next time.